Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Kim and I've been looking forward to sharing this project with you all. This video isn't about him, it is about this. So stick around and find out how I built this display. Hi everyone, this time we're going to do a bit of planning before we start the project. So I'm going to need a block of paper and something to write with. So I want to build a display that's round, and the reason I want to build a round display is that when I do miniatures for tabletop games and just for display purpose, I personally think that round bases really make them look a bit more as a display than a square base. So I'm going to build this round. It's a bit more, there's a bit more problems doing a round base in wood than a square one, but I think it will be a nice final look. So this base is going to look something like this from the top. We have the Terminator, its feet should be here and here, and then the rod down here. And I'm probably going to place a skull around here, a skull here and a skull here. I like placing stuff in sets of threes, as three pieces will look more random. If I place two, it will look kind of symmetrical. So I'm going to place three skulls on it like that. In this raised area here in the middle, I'm going to place a couple of speakers to create the soundscape around the Terminator, so they are hidden and part of the base. And I'm going to place a subwoofer, probably behind everything in some kind of area that's raised, so the sound can flow freely from it. That's the plan with the base. Next up, I'm just going to cut this out and do the woodwork. I've finally gotten to the part where I can do the base, and I've decided on a circular base for this model, as I really like how a circular base looks on miniatures when I do those. It really gives the display feeling. So it's going to be circular. It's a bit more difficult than doing a square base, but I've decided on a circular base. I've already used so much time on this Terminator anyway. So I'm going to use a jigsaw to cut it out, and I found this old piece of plywood in my storage. And right now I'm just going to mark the circle using a piece of wood I just got here, and then I'm going to nail it into the center and then draw a 40 centimeter circle, radius of 40 centimeters, so I get a diameter of 80 centimeters. A nice base for a Terminator. I think the size is just right. I have cut a lot of these, and I just need to sand them down so they have a nice clean edge, and then I'm going to glue them all to the display, and then I can make the edge that goes all the way around. So yeah. Next step, more sanding. This time it's with the machine though, so it's much easier. This actually looks quite good. The base for the Terminator, I have done most of the woodwork right now. It's round, it's shaped as it should be. I ended up making it a bit smaller than I originally cut it. I ended up making it 80 centimeters in diameter because I think that'll suit the model best. And I really hope that'll work when I mount it, because this was a lot of work. Unfortunately, the piece I made out of a sheet of wood wasn't long enough, and I had to make a small piece to attach here to fill up the gap. But I'm going to use some filler, and no one will notice this when I'm finished. I've also cut this piece that's a bit smaller. It's the idea that I'll mount a secondary side down here, just to give it the feel that I have done something extra with the side. In the front of this base, I'm going to mount a small sign where it says Terminator and blah blah blah, all the required information, Cyberdyne Systems models T-800 and so on. Well, the next step when this is dry is to build the scenery and landscape on top of it. And I really love doing dioramas. And I just consider this as a really large diorama with a really large miniature. So this is going to be so cool. I can't wait to do this. I'm inspired by the Terminator 2 movie, the scene with the Terminator and the skulls and the war scene, the future battlefield, and I'm going to try to do my best to create that atmosphere on this display. The control panel, my sketch for that before I started working with it in SketchUp, which I usually use when working with the more geometric shapes like this. I started writing up what I wanted it to be able to do, and then I just started moving around on the buttons, and I ended up with this design that was on the head. We're trying again this design with these four controlling the colors of the mini projectors. These four buttons control the eye effects, turned on, turned off, and the flickering eyes like it's been damaged. And I have a spare button. And these 8 buttons over here will control the soundscape around the model, which I have real high expectations for. I actually think this soundscape is going to be such a great feature that it will really bring forward the theme of the Terminator. And finally, I have a small area down here, and I'm going to write Cyberdyne Systems down here. But that's more or less the work process I've just been through, and now there's only the part with actually building this stuff. Right now I'm waiting for the display to dry, and while I'm waiting I could just as well use my time efficiently. So I am working a bit on the control panel for the Terminator, all of the lights and sounds and so on, and this is what I ended up with. I even added a small Cyberdyne Systems down here. I'm going to, this is just a primer, and then I'm going to spray paint it with a gloss black. And afterwards I'm going to try the rub and buff, which I have never used before, to give this a metallic look. And then I'm going to place this on somewhere on the base so I can control the Terminator using that. And I'm also going to give it a lot of rust and battered damage and effects as it's laying on the ground. It's time to work a bit on the control panel for the Terminator. This is the one I designed in SketchUp, and it will control both the light, the small mini projectors I've made on the base of the model. It will control the eyes using buttons, and it will control the audio or the soundscape around the Terminator. And the idea is that this control box is going to look like an old piece of hardware that has been left on the ground through decades, just abandoned. So I'm going to apply a metal finish to it, and a guy on the internet, on a Terminator group I joined on Facebook, he recommended this stuff. It's called Rub and Buff, and this should give a really nice metal effect. So I always like or love trying new hobby products, and I've never tried this before, so I thought why not? It seems to suit the purpose, so I'm going to try to use this on this panel here, this control box. This should give it a nice metal look if everything goes as planned. Well, I finally reached the part where I'm going to do the base for the entire model, and I'm looking very much forward to this, but I am also a bit worried about the process, because I've taken a look at what I got right here now, and I actually think the base looks okay, but I'm very much in doubt about how I'm going to do the scenery for the model. And I've been looking a bit on the internet and watching how people have made Terminator dioramas, which colors they've used, how they've made the terrain and so on. And I'm going to do this using some polystyrene on the bottom and then building up the layers. And then I'm going to attach or place some of these. I'm going to cut them in pieces so they fit in the terrain. These are from Halloween props. They are very cheap, but they suit this purpose very well. So I'm going to use 2 or 3 of these skulls for the base. The general idea was that I wanted to make a base that was pretty simple actually. I wanted a base where we had this post-apocalyptic landscape of a war zone. So I needed some rubble, I needed some concrete, but I'm actually a bit in doubt if it would look better if I had some dirt or ground, standard dirt on it. I also made the control panel for the Terminator, and this is actually one of my major concerns, because I actually think this looks pretty good, but it's more like in a Fallout 3 mood or Fallout setting. It's very corroded and it looks great, but I don't think it's going to suit this Terminator build very well. So I'm probably going to repaint this in a more shiny metal look, and then it's supposed to be placed somewhere on the base where it doesn't draw too much attention, but it will still be part of the scene. Another concern I have is the speakers. I have simply bought a cheap set of speakers, and I'm going to install these in the base and or the place, the scenery, and they are not allowed, or I do not want them to be visible. So I'm going to do something with this so I can hide these speakers. I'm going to tear out or disassemble the subwoofer and place the speaker probably on the bottom of this. This is hollow and could act a bit like a speaker. And then these 2, the smaller ones, I'm not going to disassemble them. I'm going to place them somewhere and then hide them on the landscape on top. But that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to start with these speakers, and when I figure out how to do this, then I'm going to start building off the scenery. Well, I've just removed the 4 screws from this, and I'm going to see how it looks inside. I'm pretty sure this is just a hollow cabinet with the speaker installed. But I don't know how the electronics is mounted. There shouldn't be a lot, but we have these couple of buttons, we have the power wire and so on. So I'm just going to take a look here. Yeah, and this is actually all there is into it. It's just a hollow piece of a hollow box with a speaker installed, and then I have all the stuff I'm going to use right here. And this is actually very nice, because this should be pretty easy to work with. And then I'm going to install it on the bottom of this. Well, I just figured out how to install the subwoofer speaker, and I'm going to use this small drill, and then I'm going to drill a hole here and simply mount it right here in the back of the base. And then I'm going to build a bit of terrain on top of it or around it. And finally I'm going to add some grate or some metal so it looks like a grate that's laying here, and that will protect the speaker while the audio is able to get out. So I'm going to use a drill such as this for making large holes, and this is something I should probably do outside in my garage, but the wife isn't home at the moment, and I don't want to drag this one outside, so I'm just going to do it in here. Let's pretend that didn't happen. She won't notice it, I hope. And here we go. Speaker not installed yet, just put loosely down here. I drilled a very large hole, and I knew that, but I didn't have one of those drills to drill large holes in the correct size. But I thought this will do. I'm just going to add a couple of screws down here and tighten it, and then glue it up here so it will stay in place. So I don't fear that. What I fear, however, is that I accidentally made these two, and I'm a bit afraid the wife might find out. I used a vacuum cleaner to clean up all of the other evidence here for doing the perfect crime indoors, but she might notice that. And even worse, she might watch the video, and then I'm in real trouble. So, but right now I'm just going to finish the project, and then I hope she doesn't see it. I am using common wood glue when attaching styrofoam parts to a base like this. This is exactly like when I'm building a diorama for miniatures. It's just a much larger scale. So. After several hours of work, I have managed to get this far. I have been cutting and gluing a lot of pieces of this polystyrene together, and it's made quite a mess in here, but I think I'm satisfied with the result right now. I've placed the 3 skulls I've decided on like this, and then the control box will be there, and I am considering repainting this. That depends on how it's going to look when the base is finished, but I might repaint him to look a bit more like the Terminator. The subwoofer is hidden in here, and when I'm painting this, I'm going to paint it up like some sort of concrete construction, a small vent or something like that, and then I'm going to add some pipes, rusty pipes over here along that. And I'm also putting a piece of cloth down here to hide the speaker itself, but allowing the sound or audio to get out. So the next step for me right now is to just add some more of these pieces. They're going to look like pieces of a fallen building. It's going to be painted like concrete, and I need a bit more of those around. And when I've done that, I'm going to use some filler and fill up all of the cracks. A tiny bit of sand to give it a look of dust or sand on top, a rough look. And then I should be able to paint it when the filler has dried. Yeah, that's it. The base, all of the polystyrene cut and glued together. So I'll consider this part of the process finished. Now I'm going to use the filler and fill it up. I just have a couple of notes for the the display here, I decided on making all of this rubble. These blue blocks are going to be painted like concrete, and I decided to add them so they actually looked like they covered some of the control panel, some of the skulls and so on, just to give the entire display that feel of depth, that these pieces have fallen down and hidden something. So I think that works really, really well. So I'm pretty happy I did that. My little helper joining me for the project today. This is Sellers, that's my cat. He's named after a monster from a cartoon. Right now he's quite peaceful, but he isn't always like that. He's actually a real bully. When you have finished using the filler, it's a great idea to take a piece of styrofoam such as this and then just tap all of the places you have used the filler. If you don't do this, you might have get lines in it and it won't look natural. But take a look at this. This actually looks pretty natural. It looks like it ought to look like this. So that's just a small tip. Doing this base actually took a lot longer than I had expected. It has taken a whole day just doing this, and I even rusted a bit with the glue. So the problem with this is that I might not be able to finish this video before Monday, where I actually planned on putting it up on YouTube. But one thing I have learned as a hobby guy for many years is that rushing things creates bad results. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to do this right and leave this to dry before I am proceeding with this project. So, but it looks as I wanted it to. That's the important part here. This actually looks really great. I'm not going to get very popular on this. Look at that mess. I just love this project. It's perfect. But I don't want to clean up. That's not ideal. But I finished the base and it looks like this. Oh, not finished. I finished it for today. Managed to glue on all of the styrofoam, make it look like rubble and piles of buildings, so on. I installed the speakers. I actually found a great way of installing the control panel. I made room for 3 skulls, and now I'm just waiting for this stuff to dry so I can paint it. I'm really looking forward to painting this. I just love painting stuff like this. And I even got a little company. He has been very curious all day. Well, I'm back, second day of the base building, and today I'm going to paint it. I was a bit worried that this filler could dry in time, but I tried a little trick. I simply added a fan and gave it a lot of air, and it's pretty hot up here because we have all of these window sections in this area. So it's actually dry. I didn't expect this. I expected that it would take at least 2 or 3 days, but it's dry enough for me to paint it. And as I am a bit in a hurry, I'm going to start painting. And the first step is I'm going to start with a gray, a dark gray color, and then I'm going to build up the layers and getting them more and more light. And when I finish, I'm going to add some dirt and ground texture. Here you can see the stand with the skulls just loosely placed around it to see how they look color-wise on it. And I actually think this looks very nice. To make the skulls look a bit more like they belong on this base, I am going to add some small debris and rubble along the edges of them, and might even add a bit up on top of the skull to sort of show that things have blown over them due to wind, weather, explosions and so on through time, and they actually belong here and have been laying here for a long time. I'm just working a bit on the control panel here, and I was about to do some of the wiring and actually finishing up the entire stand display over here. It looks really nice now. Then I discovered, let's not use the word fault here, but let's say I might have made a slight miscalculation. This is the Arduino, that's the USB power connector for the Arduino, and this is the room it has in the box. So due to the long connector here, it isn't able to fit inside the nice box I've made for it. So I'm going to do something about this. I could order a new USB cable, but I haven't been able to find anyone with a shorter connector. Another solution, a drill. I'm simply going to drill a hole inside the box and not drill it so long that it leaves the box on the outside. I'm not going to drill a hole all the way through, just enough to leave room for this connector. But that was a slight miscalculation. I actually didn't see that coming. But I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to test it. I just wanted to present the soundscape with the battle sounds here. I can't wait to mount that Terminator on this base and then play this sound and have the light from below up on him. It creates such a nice mood here. It really catches the spirit of the Terminator in the movie. So I'm so glad I added this soundscape. One of the last things I need to do right now is to paint all of the edge down here black. And to do that I have saved something very special. This is some very old paint from Games Workshop. It's the Chaos Black in the old bottle, and this is from back when I was in 7th or 8th grade, as far as I can remember. And this is a very old paint, and I really hope it still works, because it would be really nostalgic for me to paint this base with this paint. So let's just open it up and see what happens. It actually works. It still works. This is impressive. It actually even looks really well. These old Games Workshop paints, they were so awesome. The new ones, they just dry up in no time. But that one, that's quality. Just finished the control panel for the Terminator and the display itself, and I'm about to mount it right now. I've just run all of the wires through the hole here, and then I'm going to attach them on the bottom and where they belong. Let's just take a look at what I've managed to do so far. I am personally very, very proud of this. The Terminator, but we're not going to focus that much on him today. He's looking really great in chrome. He still needs his weapon, but we're going to give him that during the next couple of weeks. What we're looking at today is this thing down here. This is the display for the Terminator model. I used a couple of weeks making this now, and it was actually a much larger project than I had expected, but it turned out so great. I really like how the skulls are looking like they actually belong there. There are some small errors and damages on some of them, but I'm going to fix that up before the next video is ended. I would like to address a couple of issues or a couple of the effects on this display. First of all, I have all of this ground with gravel, I have concrete, and then the Terminator placed on it. The control panel down here has, if I can get the camera, yeah, Cyberdyne Systems printed here. I might have gone a bit overboard with the damages and the rust effect, but I can fix that up later. So far I'm just interested in how it actually works, and it can turn on the eyes, it can turn the eyes off. I've already turned them on, so I'm just going to turn them off, hit the button, and let's take a look at what happens. Now they should slowly turn off. Just like that. It looks great. And then I have made a defective program for the eyes. I'm just going to turn that on. It works okay. One eye working and the other one has a malfunction and keeps blinking. I need to change something with this. I don't think this looks correct, but it's software issue. I can change the software and then it will be done. So I'm not going to do anything about that right now. The other features of this massive display board are these 4 buttons up here. I really like the sound of these. I could keep doing this all day, but I'm not going to. I'm stopping here. The top left has red, blue, green and white hidden below the rust. These buttons are for a system with small mini projectors I have 3D printed and added diodes so they can shine light from down here and up on the Terminator. I haven't installed them yet because I wasn't satisfied with the mount I made for this panel, but I'm going to fix those before the next video is ended. I've made most of them. I just didn't have time to finish the mount for the base here. So all of the wiring is correct and it's connected inside this box. So I just need to add them and then turn them on. Another feature I'm really proud of, and this is the most important feature, is actually creating a soundscape around the model using these 8 buttons. The first 7 of them, they can play different kinds of Terminator themed music. The soundtrack, battle sounds, I even have a techno remix of the Terminator soundtrack in here, but I can change the audio as I please. The last button down here will turn it off. I'm just going to turn one of them on for a short time. This is the battle sounds, and I really like this effect because you actually believe that you are there with the Terminator when this audio starts. It gives such a nice feeling, so I'm just going to turn it on and then just listen. And then turn it off again. The audio coming from this bass sounds almost like a good speaker, so it's really immersive. I'm so pleased with how this sounds. It creates such an atmosphere all around the model. So that was just my short introduction to the work I've done with this Terminator during the last couple of weeks here, and I'm really happy about this display. And I can't wait to add the small projectors. I think it will look really great. So just take a look at this. Anyway, thank you all for watching my videos. I have been so impressed by how much feedback I've gotten. I've been so impressed by people subscribing to the channel, and it's really motivated me both for doing this project and finishing it. But I have so many other great projects planned, and I actually can't wait to share them all with you. So thank you all a lot for that support. It really means a lot to me. The weapon is next on the to-do list, and I'll see if I can find the time to do some of the lesser details. But one thing's for sure, I'm looking very much forward to sharing the 5th episode of this epic build with you all. If you like the content of this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thanks for watching, and always feel free to leave a comment. I really appreciate all feedback.